The Celtics hop off Christmas Day in America with a big win against the Milwaukee Bucks. We talk about that and more on First to the Floor next.
Who's going to be first to the floor here? And it was Marcus Smart, as he usually is.
Brown drives, layup off the glass.
That's not the first time we've seen a superstar in green and white sacrifice the body.
Garnett knocked away.
Let's go! Yes, let's go. I am here with Jake Eisenberg and Jackson. Jake, how you doing, my man?
Mate, happy Boxing Day, happy Christmas, Hanukkah, Tatum 40 ball. Let's go. Jackson?
Oh, I'm well too. Sorry. I might be carrying a hangover from the festivities yesterday, which may or may not have been eased by that performance. But yes, I am well. How are you doing, Spoons?
Oh, I'm hanging in there, man. I'm much happier now that the Celtics dusted the Bucks 139-118. Jackson, can everyone calm down now?
Yes. I don't know why people were freaking out to begin with. Well, that's a lie. I know exactly why we're freaking out, because 5 of 6 is bad by anyone's measure. But I mean, I could refuse just to forget how terrible we looked at the start of last season and how we turned it around. So if you want to be playing at this level and then start the little dip again, to not be at least comfortable in knowing that these players are good enough and they've got the experience, I've done it before, to bounce right back. You just need to go for a walk or just watch some highlights from last season or something. But I mean, we had a bit of a steadying the ship sort of win a couple days ago, and now on national TV against what is, probably almost consensus the second best team in the league and a big time East rival, to take care of them comfortably. Yeah, man, if you're still concerned about this, dude, just relax. Hey, is that what everyone else is feeling like? Because there's no more worry for me whatsoever.
Yeah, Jake.
Yes. Look, if you weren't a believer in the Celtics before, if you weren't a believer in Santa before, I think just today, just gift wrapped it all for us. We got threes finally. We have 3-pointers. How exciting is that? Oh, we've lost Spoons. We've lost the big dog.
I think he'll be rejoining us soon, but yeah, he just technical difficulties on Christmas.
All right,
it happens.
all right. Audible, but yeah, man, he's back. He's back
like a flash,
and he's back. Yeah, look, everybody, Spoons is back. The Celtics are back. Tatum baptized. Everybody's back. Tatum baptized our guy Giannis. Your stocking was just full, man. This is all you want to see as a Celtics fan. I think we
could have used that soul destroying JB dunk on Brook Lopez as well. But hey, you can't have everything, I suppose.
So close. All right, fellas, let's jump
too high.
Yeah. He jumped out of the Earth's atmosphere, and then he couldn't quite bring it down. He was too high up to really nail it. It's like when you're dropping a bomb from a plane, right? It's not quite precise, right? So let's jump into it. That first quarter, I thought the Celtics came out looking pretty good. JB came out absolutely on fire. He was just ripping the net from everywhere. Jackson, what were you thinking? What were your impressions on the first quarter?
Having gone through the spell of games where the three doesn't fall, and that just leads into other frustrating occurrences. When the shot does go in, you kind of want to almost restrain yourself a little bit to think, it looks good now, but if it goes away, if it abandons us, this is going to get bad. But to be honest, and it's very easy to say this in the hindsight of a 21-point win, that game never felt like it was in danger to me. Once we got through that first quarter, the shot was coming down, and Giannis was, still phoned in a 30-point performance somehow. But Giannis was never really looked like he was going to be a threat throughout. So for me, this game just felt safe pretty much the entire time. And the first quarter, I think, is what cemented that without a doubt.
Jake, do you feel like it was safe the entire? I love your confidence, Jackson, but I'm not there.
I honestly I thought after the second quarter we should have been up double digits, absolutely no question. There was the Blake blown layup. We went from like, oh, the Blake minutes are going to be okay because he's going to make 2 layups to, oh, the Blake minutes are disaster. He just missed a wide open layup, and that was kind of it. We had that. We had the Tatum like accidental tip in. We had Jalen missing 3 free throws. There was like an almost steal on Lopez, which led to a layup. It was like 10 points off just like little bounces that didn't go our way. So I was like, we should be up 10, but the Jalen missed free throws at the end of the half felt semi-ominous. They turned out to not be. I agree. Like we're so much better than this version of the Bucks on a game-to-game basis. Like, I did get a little worried when the lead got down to like 12 in the fourth quarter until our good mate Jaylen Brown decided to just heat up and say, "That's enough of that. That's enough of that, Thanasis."
I think even Grant Williams was having some flashbacks to Game 7 because he was finding shots in the fourth quarter as well. So it just felt like we had them comfortably at arm's length, and every now and then they would push back. But for me, it just felt like we were doing this the whole time.
Every now and then, Giannis would dive into our guys' legs or something like that and go to the foul line 3 possessions in a row. But actually, I was about to bring up Grant Williams and Al Horford because it feels like if we're playing those two guys, they just can't have Brook Lopez on the court, right? Because we just spread them out, and you saw Jalen go by him a few times. You saw Tatum go by him a few times. You saw Brogdon, Derrick White go by him and find open shooters. And when Al and Grant Williams are out there, I mean, Brook's very important to how the Bucks want to play, especially how they want to play defense. And if he can't see the court against the Celtics, like a pretty good matchup for us, right?
Absolutely.
They better hope that Middleton is like peak
literally
Middleton.
Jordan.
Yeah, he really has to be because they don't have anyone for the Jays. Like there's Drew Holiday is an incredible defender, but Tatum and Jalen don't have an issue scoring on him. And then it's what? Then it's Ingles, Connaughton, Grayson Allen, Lopez. Like Bobby, there's no one. And Middleton can't guard both of them. Tatum solved the Wes Matthews thing. We had a little mini flashback there for a second for like half of the possession, and then eventually Tatum just like dribbled around him and got to the bucket. The matchup for the Bucks is not ideal. But you can kind of say that for the Celtics and a lot of teams when they're playing their best. A lot of teams don't have defenders to handle 2 of the most, prolific scoring wings in the NBA.
Yeah, and when like Tatum is on form today, like he was, it's borderline unfair. You really cement him in that upper echelon of players based on what we saw today. Like he was just completely unbothered in the third. Holiday on him, no problem. Giannis on him, no problem. Double on him, pass it off, no problem. He was bending it to his will. So yeah, I mean, yes. I'm with you. Like I wish to God that Middleton played, even if he was hobbled, they could still like, oh man, wait till he gets back to be fully healthy. Yeah. But I'm just sick of that whole Middleton would have, the Bucks would have beaten the Celtics in the semis with Middleton. That's just rubbish as far as I'm concerned. And I just want to put that to bed as soon as possible. And today would have been a good day to do it. But again, I doubt he would have made much of a difference the way the Jays were playing today, particularly today.
Middleton's shooting 33% from the field this year so far. Yeah. So obviously he's not healthy. I think that version of Middleton maybe makes the Bucks worse because he's taking a lot of shots, missing a ton, and there's absolutely no way he's going to keep up with the Jays. Look, yeah, Jackson, you're right. Tatum was cooking Drew Holiday. Tatum. Yeah, I mean, he's like step backing over Drew Holiday, blowing by him. Holiday got him once that I can remember where he picked his pocket for a layup the other time. But like, if Drew Holiday can't stop this dude, what are you supposed to do with him?
Yeah. Dude, so it was like, it was 1 point lead going into the third quarter, and Tatum had that. He's not known for his range. Like he's a great 3-point shooter step back, but usually it's pretty close to 3-point line. But his first bucket in that 20-point run that he had, 20-point quarter, just absurd on national TV on the Bucks. It started with that deep 3, and then it was like, little step back mid-range. Then it was like a little floater. Then it was an 18-footer over Holiday. Then it was to the rim, getting to the line. Like it was
fast break.
Everything. Yeah. It was 3-level scorer going at everybody that they had, all of their starters. It doesn't get better than that. Like, and I love how much Doris Burke loves Tatum too, because like when Tatum's going off, she's just like, oh, Jason Tatum, stop it. I'm like, no, please keep going, Joris. I can't help myself. It's just an absurd quarter.
Yeah, go ahead, Jackson. No, please.
Take the reins.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah. I mean, Tatum was absolutely unconscious, but I felt like the Bucks did a really good job of staying. They didn't let us blow them out in the third quarter, and it felt like the way we played, we were on our way to blowing them out in the third. And I thought Ingles had a couple big threes. Your Australian brethren, had a couple big threes. Go ahead, Jay.
They really just like they hurt a little bit less when they're Joe Ingles, but man, he was hitting some very timely threes, and I'm pretty sure he hasn't hit a three since he's come back. This was by far his best scoring performance. So this actually was a win-win because we kicked the crap out of him. But Joe, it's nice to see my my countrymen get off the schneid just a little bit. How about you, Jackson?
Yeah. I mean, I'll always have mixed feelings about Australians like playing well against the Celtics because obviously there's that little bit of nationalism. It's like, yes, come on, boys. But
go on, son.
As far as the Tatum and Smart and Ed Brown, etc., they're my boys for real. But
just to make that clear.
But yeah, I sound like probably a bit arrogant and like, I was never really worried about it. No, because you are always worried that Giannis is just going to just wake up and just score like 20 straight, just getting his way to the rim. Something that I thought was like really interesting, and it might just be some psychological, ploy, because we're most likely going to see them in the postseason, aren't we? That the amount of like mid-range long twos that Giannis was attempting and hitting for that matter, as opposed to like bullying his way to the rim, like, you live with those even if they go in, because it's like it's better than just elbowing everyone on his way to an N1 play. But if he could add that to his repertoire and sort of get that aggressiveness back, then that's a real issue, because it's not, don't even necessarily into threes. If you can just be spaced out and hit those shots, then that's going to be an issue. But yeah, that awakening giant moment just never really quite happened for him, despite ending up at 30.
It was a weird Giannis game. I didn't think that he really forced his way to the rim like he did in the playoff series. And I know, they always do a good job on him, but he just didn't really feel like he wanted any part of what was going on there. He was like, this is too hard for me today.
Look, and it's not, I don't know, maybe I'm using this wrong, but it's not a zero-sum game, right? Like there's only so many possessions Giannis can absorb in a game, right? So if he does use possessions, taking those mid-range fallaways that he made at a ridiculous rate. I think he was 7 or 8 for 21 this game. And 5 or 6 of them had to be those mid-range jump shots. So if he's trading rim drives for those, then he's not attacking you relentlessly like when we know he's at his best. So it's kind of this weird balancing act with Giannis where it's like, you just live with him making, if Giannis is going to make 15 mid-range jumpers in a game, like he's Carmelo Anthony, it's like, tip your cap. Hey, we're going to lose this game probably. But you guys are right. The last thing you want him to do is just like drive at you all day nonstop. And then for some reason, we're the only team he can make free throws against, apparently, because he's shooting like 55% from the line and he went 8 of 12 tonight. So I just think it's at the point now where I think the Bucks, I think Giannis, and I think we all have to admit the Celtics are just really, this version of the Celtics with Al Horford and Grant Williams are really good at defending Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, there's no other explanation, right?
Well, yeah, and it's the way they defend Embiid, I think it's like they've got reps, for the boss. Like, as good as Embiid is, Giannis, I think, on a different level. And I think that's played out in Giannis's playoff success. They are so good at building the wall, but they're also great at like making him uncomfortable, digging down, getting hands in passing lanes. Just getting, and I think that they're maybe the best team in the league at defending guys like that. And it goes back to the first playoff run that the Jays had where that playoff series against Embiid and Simmons, it's just like, Brad Stevens laid the foundation. Oh, and the series prior, right, where they matched up against Giannis. They're just kind of getting in these reps against Giannis and Embiid, these Eastern Conference behemoths that most teams really have issues stopping. And the Celtics do as good a job as anybody at slowing them down. Like I can't believe Giannis had 30, but it wasn't the impactful way that he did it in the playoffs. Like in my notes, I was like, are they going to let him play like Derrick Henry today? He didn't really try.
He was a minus 27.
Wow.
Whoa.
I don't know that.
Yeah, minus 27.
Mental.
The next worst was Drew Holiday at a minus 19. So I think that goes to like that was the worst 30-point game I've ever seen a superstar play. You know what I mean?
Get him.
Yeah,
Fake title.
And I thought we were going to get an absolutely charged up coming for the throat version of the Bucks. Like if we had lost to them in the playoffs, like I would expect like an absolutely ruthless, give it everything you got kind of game. And they just sort of looked like that they just were sort of taking it off to a degree. And it was a lot of that you got to put down to like great play from us and, all round. But I don't know, they just didn't appear to be, they didn't want it as much as we did for the most part.
Do you think they're kind of like a mirror image of how we play against the Warriors in a way? Like, we went up to Golden State.
I like that.
We kind of saw some ghosts and they probably hyped themselves. Like, how could you not be hyped up as a fan, as a player for this game? Like all you've been hearing all year long is that these are the best two teams in the East, probably the best two teams in the NBA. And here's the first, showdown matchup. And it looks very, very similar to what happened in Game 7.
Yeah. Also, it must be said, like the Bucks, almost eerily enough, like us, they're in the midst of a slump. We like I said at the top of the show, it looks like we're out of that now and we're like just getting on with business. The Bucks are still trying to arrest the fall that they're subject to, and if they don't sort it out, this is what I was saying on the Reddit sub. Like if they don't sort it out, like they're gonna find themselves in that like absolute shit fight. For the 3 to 8 seed, and once you're in that, the way the Nets are playing, the way the Sixers are playing, unfortunately, like that's a mess to be in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. I mean, the Eastern Conference standings have all of a sudden gotten extremely tight. I know the Knicks lost today to the Sixers, but they were on like an 8-game win streak for a while. There's just a lot of very solid teams in the East, and there's not going to be a lot of free wins. Like the way Orlando's playing now, too. Like that is not an easy win anymore either. So you can't. This was kind of a standings wise a very important win because 23-11 for some reason sounds a lot worse than 24-10 to me. For I know it's just one game difference, but the way the standings are playing out right now, you're right, Jackson. Like all of a sudden you're going to be the 6th seed and like, oh man, we are in trouble of getting into that play-in and nobody wants to be in that. So one guy I think we should talk about, because we talked about how awful he has been recently. He had not made a 3 in 2 weeks. And then finally he came alive last game, getting to the rim. Tonight he was getting to the rim, passing it out, and finally made a 3.
Yes.
Derrick White, baby.
Yes,
Jake's mistress is back. He's got a new haircut. He's a new man. Jake, how you feeling about
this? Is what we needed. Oh man, the mistress is back. It started last game, and this is what he has to do. This is the perfect Derrick White experience. If he's going to be out there, he has to be aggressive. It's not even about making the threes, as we saw last game. Didn't hit a 3 the entire game. Just getting to the rim, paint touches. That's his job. Push the pace, get in the paint. Maybe throw up those floaters he can do, but then just move the ball, connect. And I think he just got away from like what makes him so good. Because him playing like that opens it up not only for everybody else, but for himself as well. And to see him get back on track with the new hair. Look, you shouldn't be calling your mistress on the holidays, but I might have to give him a little buzz after we hop off here.
Be like Love Actually when Alan Rickman buys the mistress the gold chain rather than his wife. Yeah, man, it's so good because we I think the three of us jumped on and like we were praising his shooting and how well he was doing and how vital he was, and then it just fell off the hill. I was like, oh, cool. Well, is this our fault now? But no, I think the haircut sort of evokes the memories of Kyrie Irving's attempted afros in the past that was never any good for us. I think it took Tatum a long time to kind of reconcile his long hair with good performances. So yeah, man, when in doubt, get a trim because it worked. It worked for the Buffalo. It worked for Mistress Buffalo tonight. And yeah, I second everything you guys are saying. It's so good to see him because he's so important and he's probably not going to lose that starting lineup position anytime soon. So he needs to deliver, and he is.
Oh. Go on, Rich. Go on, Spains.
I was going to say he's a team high plus 20, just like a perfect 12, 3, and 5 with a steal, only 1 turnover. Just an excellent Derrick White game, man. Really, truly perfect. But Jake, unless you want to talk about Derrick White a little more, the one thing I will say is that shout out to your dad in the chat first.
Yes, sir.
And second, we got to talk a little bit more about Jason Tatum in that third quarter, man. He had 41, 7, and 5, 1 turnover. So
It's
Jake,
immaculate.
I mean, that third quarter was unbelievable.
Sorry, I'm just dealing with some naughty bots in the chat.
We've made it. There's bots in the chat.
This is huge. This is huge. Don't click on that, anybody in the chat. Don't click on that. What, dude? I mean, again, MVP. This guy turns up in the big games. Like anything negative that people say about Tatum is almost always not true. But like anytime you talk about Tatum not being clutch or turning up in big games, this game was flashbacks. Game 6, he started to, get the step back going, and then all of a sudden it was getting to the rim, no problem. And the defense by him, he was getting on the boards. I love when he kind of lets the little things boost what's happening on the offense. Like sometimes, he will try and shoot his way into the game, but today I thought that he had 15 or 16 in the first half, and you almost didn't even notice. It was like, oh, that's maybe the most quiet 17 first half points I've seen in a while. And then he followed it up with maybe the loudest 20 points of a quarter we've seen from a Celtic this season. Straight back to the top of the MVP ladder, right? Christmas Day against Giannis, against the number 1 defense in the league. Like, it just doesn't stop with this guy.
Yeah, he's gonna leap over Giannis. Even if it's like fair or unfair. You're right, Jake. The context of like national TV, Christmas, big game, completely like just dwarfed him in terms of his performance. I'm sure Jokic should probably have a 20 and 20
I know,
game,
right?
like later on, and you can't begrudge the guy for that because he's just incredible as well too. But yeah, Tatum is. I don't think he's that bothered about the MVP, to be perfectly honest. I'm sure he'd love to win it, but you just get the impression that it's not like and this isn't like a slight at like James Harden, but Russell Westbrook, but you feel like those guys' MVP campaigns were kind of a little bit self-centered. That could be a totally terrible take, but I just don't get that.
That's correct.
He's very much a team guy, and I think he would trade any individual accolade for team success. And with a performance like that, it's just. He will take us. He will take us as far as he wants to. It's just going to be a matter of executing in the crucial moments. And we got a great example. We got a great serving of that tonight.
Yeah, and I get the impression that might be a little bit new because I think at the beginning of the season last year, Tatum said one of his goals was to make first team All NBA. And it almost seems like now that he's been recognized by his peers or by the writers or whatever, and he's now first team All NBA, he's in the MVP. It's like he just wants to be in the conversation for the best player. And now that he is, like, I think he said before last season, like, I want to make first team All NBA. I want to be an All-Star again. This year, it was like championship is all that matters. That is all I care about. Boom, boom, boom. And he's been playing like it. And one of the big, I think it showed up tonight is after Tatum went for 20 in the third quarter, he scored 2 in the fourth quarter, and he just let Jalen cook. And that was something Celtics fans had, really criticized Tatum for in fourth quarters is like kind of dominating the ball, especially when Jaylen Brown is hot. So it just felt like kind of this is why this dude is so good. And he's at the top of MVP conversations because he knows when to step aside sometimes and let Jaylen Brown do his thing.
Yeah, I think they all seem to have learned that the team success equals individual accolade success as well. I loved the way that everybody handled the way that Tatum was going off. Joe Mazzulla, he left Tatum in longer than he usually would.
Yeah.
And let him continue to be a flamethrower. And then, quarter ends, Tatum goes out. Jalen starts to get going a little bit, and Tatum doesn't force the issue at all. We're kind of, me and my dad are like, oh, maybe he's cooled off. He comes in, Jalen kind of finds him for a little mid-range, cash, no problem. And then the way that he's able to seed the floor to Jalen, be a spacer, be a screener, be a cutter, like it's just not something that other MVP candidates do. Like watch watch Luka, watch Embiid. A lot of these guys aren't willing to, be a selfless superstar and just fit into whatever the context of the game requires. And yeah, it was perfect. Everybody eats, like a rising tide raises all boats. When everybody's going like this, Marcus Smart, he looks like an all-star point guard in a game like today because they're committed to doing all the stuff off ball, which makes their individual stats look better. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, kind of at this point.
Yeah, that takes a lot of maturity from a player to sort of, be comfortable enough and to, make those kind of decisions, to be not passive. That's probably the wrong word, but just like, let the guy who's cooking, continue to go and like cater your game around that. I think it shows a lot of maturity, but B, that he just trusts the team, that he's comfortable with the team. Like I don't watch enough Mavs games, but the ones I have, I know for a fact Luka Doncic wouldn't trust half of those dudes with like, his car keys, let alone, trying to win a game. Whereas Tatum, you can just tell he just trusts the guys and the team chemistry is there. And I don't know if there's a word for it, but I'm pretty sure everyone who touched the floor of the Celtics tonight got a bucket. That's got to be what do they call it in bowling when you have like 3 straight strikes? Is it a
turkey?
Yeah. So maybe this is the Christmas turkey, if you will.
Yes, we're starting that.
Today. Everyone ate today, literally and figuratively.
Yes, I love that, Jackson. And every time everyone scores, it's a turkey, baby.
There we go.
Highlighted by Peyton Pritchard dropping Mamashkidashvili or whatever his name is.
Done, Spoons.
Yeah,
that was some.
And I'll take a bow. Thank you very
not
much.
Bad.
It's almost as good as Ryan Archidiakono. And nailed it.
And one.
So I don't know if there's anybody, one downside of this game. Jalen had another 4 turnovers, which wasn't ideal, but all is forgiven. Like if Jalen Brown's going to destroy in the first quarter, in the fourth quarter, dude, whatever he does in the second and third, it's fine. It was
until that fourth quarter takeover. If you like put his 8 quarters like laid out in the last game, it was just like terrible, amazing, terrible, and then he just bookended it with I wouldn't call it stat padding, but it was 10, 11 straight points for us in a kind of a pivotal period where Milwaukee could have gotten back into it. So no, I think it's you want him to be more consistent than streaky, but when you consider what Tatum was doing, what the team was doing as a whole, and he just picked his moments, he did it to perfection. So you're right, guys. All is forgiven. Yeah. I'll put up with 4 turnovers and some shoddy, patchy basketball if you can turn in, clutch moments like that,
Yeah.
3 assists in the fourth quarter, too. 3 assists in the fourth quarter.
That's big.
Go ahead, Jake.
For sure.
Jalen's kind of like the stock market in a way, the index funds, the ETFs. It's like if you look on a specific week or a day, but if you just zoom out to the 10-year average, and we're going up tonight, 29 points. Exactly. It's just we're going up, baby. We're going up. And tonight, right? 29 points on 19 shots, 5 assists. Like in my notes, it was lead down to 12, ... Jalen, ... And then it was he's back for 3, and again, and again, and again, and an assist to Al. He was just like, oh wow, this is an absolutely ridiculous tear. And exactly, all is forgiven. 2 J's, man. It's just good luck.
Yeah. Marcus Smart, we got to talk about him a little bit.
Yes.
I believe he has 12 points in the last 2 games and 18 assists.
Yes.
He is now in the last 15 games, he's averaging 7.7 assists a game. He was a minuscule plus 15 tonight, just 3rd on the team. But that's all right. So Jackson, what do you think of Marcus's game? And honestly, the last 2 games, because I thought he was especially a maestro, really.
Yeah, I think we're hyper aware to it because we know what Marcus Smart is about, and I think if he's on, the team is on. And if he's off, other guys have to really step up to sort of fill that void. We could have really used him against Indiana when there's no way we're in a 30-point hole, even if we did play badly. But I digress. The best kind of Marcus Smart games are still to this day when you barely notice him there. The stat line, particularly in terms of points, might not look like anything earth-shattering, but, just like, a 6, a 7, an 8, and like 1 turnover or 0 turnovers like he had in the last game. He's such a quintessential glue guy and, sort of leader of this group that, he operates best when he is not at the forefront. And I think we've regurgitated this many a time on this podcast, but like when he shoots a lot of shots and even when he scores a lot of points, like typically we lose those games, which feels a bit weird, but like, games like this and games like the last game that he had against Minnesota, it's just a testament to how influential he is without necessarily like forcing it. Everything sort of comes to him. And you're right, guys, a maestro is just the only way to say it. That's 18 assists and 1 turnover in 2 games. And one of those is supposedly the second best one of the, the team in the NBA and a rival to us in the East. Like, yeah, I will never not jump on the Marcus Smart is awesome bandwagon. And it's just another example.
Milwaukee's the number 1 defense in the league, pretty comfortably too. So 8 assists,
139 points.
Yeah. It was a record on Christmas Day for the Celtics.
Oh, nice.
Yes. I think this was personified. There was the play where Tatum, he kicked it to Marcus, who was kind of wide open in the corner, and Tatum just cut straight to the basket, and Marcus it was a wide open corner 3, kicks it back to Tatum, give and go, hammer poster on Giannis' head.
Giannis,
yeah. And then there was a similar one. Tatum had like a semi-shaky possession, kind of dribbling around. He kind of got into the paint, kicked it to Marcus, who again, it would have been a fine shot. There was like 6 seconds left on the shot clock. He could have just taken the catch and shoot 3, and that would have been fine. But instead, Tatum relocates. Smart finds him. Tatum hits that little spin, fake spin on Joe Ingles.
Smitty.
The Smitty. That I was like, I was gonna say Smitty, but I wasn't sure. Yeah, hits the Smitty and then just goes straight through Drew Holiday for the layup. And that's just it's all connected. But when it comes back to the love and the trust, like Tatum trusts that Marcus is gonna make the right play. And tonight he made every right play. And I think as well, his defense is kind of going a little under the radar because of how well he's playing the point guard position. But in the first half, I thought he was like the gang rebounding, big entry passes on over the top to Lopez. He was like flying in, getting tip balls, getting his hands everywhere. And then you had the play. Anyway, we're not going to talk too much about the T-Wolves game, but he had that play where he kind of faked that he wasn't paying attention to the post entry pass. And then he just, gets the deflection, about to fall out of bounds, jump, like fast break. Like if you're getting high assist, low turnover, and then # winning plays from Marcus, it's perfect.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, and it must be mentioned as well too that he was also someone who changed his hairstyle in the last couple of days, and that has also coincided with a thing. So whoever the barbers are for that team, or for whoever's working their magic, man, like.
I love this
to you because I refuse to say it's not connected.
It has to be.
Yeah, I mean, just I think it just comes down to Smart has really embraced what Missoula and last year he who shall not be named, Ime Udoka, I just named him, but have asked of him, like, cut down the threes unless you're open and just find the J's, man. And actually Smart was, I think at the halftime, he was the courtside interview for halftime, Jake, and he brought up the pass that he had to Tatum for the big dunk, and Tatum like hopped over his shoulder and was like, Merry Christmas.
Yes.
But I thought it's Smart was like kind of flustered almost. And he kind of had the next thing he said was really interesting. He's like, I got a lot of mouths to feed on this team, but I just tell these guys, give me the ball and I'm going to get it back to you guys. So, and it's exactly what he said. Remember, was that big kerfuffle last year in like November when he said like, they're not passing enough. It was a lot more nuanced than that, but that's how it was reported. And he's made good on that word, man. And I think it's really just beautiful to see the Jays embrace that and understand that Smart just wants the ball to give it back to them because he knows they're better than he is. So, man, this team is all of a sudden buzzing after losing 5 out of 6, huh?
Yeah.
We knew it, right? We said as soon as you win these 2 games and everybody forgets about the little
All's forgiven. All's forgiven. Yeah. And that second half of the Pacers game, man, like I wrote up on CelticsBlog, like in their darkest moment, they rediscovered their identity. I got 2 comments on that piece. Both of them were extremely negative about how I'm an idiot and celebrating the fact that we got blown out or we're down by 30. But it kind of seems like that, Jackson. Do you agree? Or
Yeah, you got to compartmentalize these things. You know what I mean? You can play like 96 Bulls / 15, 16 Warriors basketball all season long and then look terrible your last 10 games.
Yeah.
From a statistical standpoint, you're like, that is one of the greatest regular seasons ever, but no one feels good about that because of the recency and what the form that we're going through now. So, yes, it is bad to be down by 30 and to ultimately lose the game to a team that was, with a 500 record in the East. But you look at that second half and you'd be it's such a ridiculous take to say that there's no positives from that. And as you wrote about, in the darkest moment, you do go to the identity and you rediscover that. And, I 100%, I mean, even though the first 3 quarters of the Timberwolves game was pretty dicey, like that absolutely played a part in the win a couple days ago and without a doubt played a role in the win today. So yeah, you can whenever you are in the midst of a slump, and we should all remember this too, because I think there's definitely going to be at least 1, 2, maybe more times this season where things are going to we're going to go away from what we're good at, and the records, the losses are going to pile up and whatnot. You just got to have faith that these guys are experienced, that these guys have gotten through it many times before. Yep. And if you play at such a high level, you might regress down to a bit of a mean, but you are not going to be, as bad as we were for extended periods of time. So yeah, you got like Marcus Smart, you just got to love and trust this team because they've been there before and they've done it before.
No question. Absolutely no question. I was going to ask you, what did you guys think about Rob today and Rob in general? Because now, it was really, his first, real game against the Bucks, a lot of back and forth with Celtics and Bucks fans about how impactful Rob Williams actually is against the Bucks. It's like, oh, well, if Rob Williams is playing, then Brook Lopez gets to play in the paint. That didn't go so well today for them. He didn't play a lot of minutes. I wonder if he was still feeling a little sick because that was why he was out the previous game. And then I also wonder if he was going to come back in for 4 more minutes if it hadn't just like blown out at the end. But what do you guys think of Rob Jackson?
Honestly, I think he's looked great for when you have to acknowledge that he is going to be in a limited role. His minutes are going to be reduced. He's still getting up to pace. He's still getting up his fitness. He's getting his sea legs under him, etc. But man, every time a shot is missed, he is looking for that offensive rebound. And I'm horribly unprepared. I don't have the statistics here, but I would say since he's come back, our offensive rebound has gone up because he is always there, tipping it out, tipping it back in. I think he had a dunk that I don't think would have counted because he put it over the cylinder, even though he missed it. But there have been a couple of instances where you just don't get that second chance opportunity, without him there. And if this is him at 60% in in a reduced role, then, that's just going to get better and better and better. And he doesn't, to me, it doesn't look like he's lost his spring. He's still able to get up there, and it might not be as dynamic as it once looked, but I couldn't be happier with how he's come back so far, given the restrictions. Is that fair to say, Spoons?
Yeah. So Jackson, I just did a real quick search. Our offensive.
So did I.
Yeah, the last 5 games, our offensive rebound percentage is 31.1%, which is an absolutely insane number. And it was 15 or something ridiculous like that before Rob got back. So you're absolutely spot on. Rob adds a dimension to this team on both ends that just very few guys in the NBA can add, right? There was, I thought the first half, and Z Gamer said it in the chat, first half he was meh, second half Rob looked really good. And it's not like he was scoring a ton, and he didn't really rack up a ton of rebound numbers, but just his ability to, one, bail out people who get blown by on the perimeter and swat. And Bobby Portis tried to post him up one time, and he just tipped that crap in back.
What was that about?
And it was a fast break the other way. And then he had Drew Holiday ISO'd against them a couple times, and he just absolutely smothered Holiday. One time he had Holiday so smothered, Holiday was behind the backboard and went up to shoot, and Rob fouled. It's like Rob didn't know. He was too into playing defense. It's dude, just let him shoot. He fouled him. But, it would just goes to show he's such a good and impactful defender that Holiday was literally just trying to get fouled because he was behind the backboard, almost falling into the crowd when he shot. And then on the offensive end, the offensive rebounding is just incredible. And really, like, the vertical lob threat, you can see when Rob rolls to the rim, that weak side guy covering the corner shooter, which was often Grant Williams or Al Horford, has to just go. They just have to go and touch Rob and be on him. And we just were finding that corner shooter. I think Grant and Al combined for 5 or 6 threes together. And I mean, that's just incredibly efficient offense. And Rob Williams doesn't touch the ball, but when he's in the game, that shot just opens up so much. And I mean, he's just so fun to watch play, dude. He really is
unbelievably good.
There's no one like Rob, man, in the league, and the types of plays that he makes. You know, last episode I was like watching him get offensive rebounds over people when he's like 2 guys boxing him out, or you know, someone gets blocked at the rim and they just had no idea that he was anywhere near them. He just like teleports. It's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, the offensive rebounding thing is just such a boon to the offense, especially when they're missing shots. And you know, it wasn't quite, you know, turning into made shots after the offensive rebounds, but like, that's, you know, how many times as Celtics fans have we gone through a painful offensive rebound by the other team when Rob is out and it turns into a dagger 3. Offensive rebounds are just almost always wide open threes. And
they're backbreakers momentum wise for the other team. Like, the other team's going on a run and then Rob like tips it out or gets an easy layup or something like that. Like, that just kills you. And I don't know about you, Jackson, but Tatum just loves the dude. And I feel like it energizes the Jays too, just playing with Rob.
Yeah. I think everyone recognizes like what a unique skill set and like the, you know, how impactful he can be. And look, it's obviously not going to happen this year because he's missed too much time, but like it'd be an absolute travesty if Time Lord doesn't at least get one All-Star appearance, because that guy was just like prototypically purposefully made for an All-Star game, because you've just got guys just like eating like behind the back lobs to him, and he's sending like shots into like, you know, the second section of elevated seats. Like, it would just be such a spectacle for him to, you know, to showcase his skills. But I mean, I don't need any of that from Rob Williams. Like I said, the gritty offensive rebounds, little tip ins, good screens, etc. That's all we need out of him. And if you do get a monstrous block and a couple of alley-oops on top of that, outstanding as well. But like, you know, he doesn't need to be, you know, all flash and all, you know, like Hollywood highlights to be impactful. So yeah, the more he gets up to speed, like the more we're going to recognize last year's team. That defensive monster is going to come more to the forefront. I'm confident of that.
Yeah, and he's just helpful for settling things down by getting those easy buckets. Like when Jalen was having that little moment, I think what really got him going was he had a little pick and roll with Rob, and he threw a lob and Rob just like laid it in. And then it was from that moment, the floodgates opened. And getting, he's. I think you're right. I love the Jays love playing with him. Z Gamer in the chat, he is an energizer. He brings something special, dude. Like, I don't know what it is about Rob. He's just so unique. And he's such a sweet guy. Like, anytime he's just so excited to be out there. Everybody loves him. It's kind of crazy how explosive he looks just coming off the injury, like straight out the gates.
Yeah, for sure. And he's so unselfish. And Bill Simmons talks about it. I don't know if you guys have read the book of basketball. If you have not, I strongly suggest you do, anyone listening to this. And like, the first chapter is The Secret, right? And it's just about the best basketball you can play is being unselfish. And Rob like doesn't want the ball almost, you know what I mean? Like, he hot potatoes it, and sometimes to his detriment and the team's detriment, but that is contagious, man. Like, when it's just ping-ponging around, it's just a fun way to play basketball, and it rubs off on everybody else on the team. And, you know, his impact is just so incredible. And yeah, Jackson, I've not really thought about Rob as an all-star, but he could go the Bam route where he averages you know, 16, 12 and 3 and, you know, 2 blocks and a steal a game or something like that.
Well, like Brook Lopez might make the All-Star game. That's like the path. Brook Lopez probably should make the All-Star game if it ends today.
It's a very crowded front court on the east side of things, but you know, at his peak, like he is in that conversation, and I just think it would just be highlight after highlight play if he was in that game.
Oh yeah,
the world deserves it, not just Boston fans. Like, the world needs to see that.
Yeah, hell yeah. Anyway, guys, so Great win. That was awesome. The Timberwolves win. Felt like we were kind of playing with our food, destroyed them in the fourth quarter. I think we all agree that we like where the team is headed. So before we wrap this one up, gentlemen, it's December 25th in the United States. I know it's Boxing Day, which is not a thing in the United States, but the day after Christmas for you guys. So Jackson, how was the Christmas, man? Did you get any good presents? What's up?
I don't have it with me, but I have several pieces of Jason Tatum memorabilia that
nice.
that I got.
Yes.
One of which is this like 6.5 inch, like fully posable Tatum action figure. I would love to tell you that like my friends or family or partner got that for me. Nope, bought it myself with my own money. Online one time, I was just like, you know what? I do want a Jason Tatum action figure in my life. So I got that. I got one of those signed sort of plaque things of him with a bunch of photos, and he's doing the rookie sort of photo with that. That's wicked. Got a few plants, chocolates, etc., etc. It was a great Christmas, man. Like, I mean, it would have probably been utterly ruined had we not, performed or got the win today, man. But yeah, had a fantastic time, dude. And mercifully, or thankfully, it's quite warm over here, which unfortunately, Spoons, I don't think you're being afforded the luxury of, sadly.
Yeah. That's because so my sister lives in New York, and her boyfriend, they both landed yesterday. It took them an extra day to get here, but they narrowly escaped the polar vortex that's happening over there. But yeah, no, good Christmas. My grandpa, we kind of do Christmaka, like we're half Jewish family, half Christmas family, and like my grandpa, he's from Hungary and escaped the war when he was like 14, back in like the 40s, and he has these like insane stories. And we've always talked about like kind of interviewing him, getting all the stories recorded so we have them forever. Now, like have the podcast mic. And I'm just realizing that the setting it's on is probably still from last night. Sorry, Ben. But yeah, the setting where it just captures everybody's. So we basically just like everybody hanging out, having a couple of drinks, getting like stories from age 14 all the way through to today. And we just kind of got that forever, and we finally got that done. So that's definitely probably been the highlight of the Christmas for me.
That's awesome.
I had an electric Christmas. I got several pairs of underwear and 2 sweaters. So, the big day.
Underwear is a great present, man.
Underrated, dude.
Completely unfair reputation of a
I got some too.
Child.
Amazing.
Not the case. It's great.
I absolutely love getting fresh new, and my wife got the expensive Manscaped promo code First18 underwear. It is incredibly soft. Make sure you take care of your sack, just like Santa does. Manscaped.com First18. I hope that counts as an ad read because I forgot to run ours during the middle of the show. But yeah, no, we had a really low key, fun Christmas. I made some filet mignon, and gentlemen, I don't want to brag, but I got the cast iron out. I got a bunch of butter out. I do the 7-7-7 method, 7 on the stovetop, 7 in the oven, 7 on the plate with the tin foil over it. Perfect medium rare with the little crust on top with the salt and pepper. It was absolutely incredible. So that was my Christmas gift to me and the rest of the family. But yeah, we had a nice fun one.
Tremendous.
My kid got
some went for 40 as well. Jeez,
yeah, that's right. Yeah. 45, baby. My kid got plastic golf clubs, and he's proceeding to attack every single family member and animal in the house with them. So that's been really fun. But other than that,
as he should.
Yeah, it was a great Christmas. So, gentlemen, unless you have anything else to leave us with, we're gonna wrap this one up. Go Seas. What a win. Oh, man, that one felt good. First to the floor. We are out. Love your work, gentlemen. Jackson and Jake. Spoonie signing off.
Merry Christmas, guys.